Welcome dear students to module 2 of the subject cryptography, classical encryption techniques. Again this module also I have divided into different lectures. So in this module we'll be learning about the symmetrical encryption techniques. So let us start with the lecture. So what is meant by cryptography? Cryptography has many definitions. So we'll just see what exactly it means. So cryptography is associated with the process of converting ordinary plain text into unintelligible text and vice versa. Okay, it is also a method of storing and transmitting data in a particular form so that only those for whom it is intended can read and process it. Cryptography not only protects data from theft or alteration but can also be used for user authentication. It is also a science of encrypting or hiding secret. And as already mentioned, it can be used for confidentiality in the sense information cannot be understood by anyone. Whoever has the key to decrypt this message only can be able to read the message. Symmetric encryption, also referred to as conventional encryption or single key encryption, was the only type of encryption in use prior to the development of public key encryption in the 1970s. It remains by far the most widely used of the two types of encryption. So here we are going to learn about the symmetrical encryption techniques. But before we start with the exact topic, we need to know some of the terms. A original message is known as the plain text, while the coded message is called the ciphertext. The process of converting from plain text to ciphertext is known as enciphering or encryption. Restoring the plain text from the ciphertext is deciphering or decryption. So the many schemes used for encryption constitutes the area of study known as cryptography. Such a scheme is known as cryptographic system or a cipher. Techniques used for deciphering a message without any knowledge of the enciphering details fall into the area of cryptanalysis. Cryptanalysis is what the layperson calls breaking the code. The areas of cryptography and cryptanalysis together are called cryptology. So let us see the simplified model of conventional encryption. A symmetric encryption scheme has 5 ingredients. One is the plain text. So this is the original intelligible message or data that is fed into the algorithm as an input. This is what we normally write. Okay, this is a message what we need to send to the receiver. Then is the encryption algorithm. The encryption algorithm performs various substitutions and transformations on the plain text. Now these algorithms will be learning later on. What algorithms are used for encryption? Again here it is symmetrical also we have as well as asymmetric algorithms. So in this module we are going to learn the symmetric algorithms. Next is the secret key. This is used for the encryption process. Secret key is also input to the encryption algorithm. The key is a value independent of the plain text and of the algorithm. The algorithm will produce a different output depending on the specific key being used at the time. Okay, next is a ciphertext. Ciphertext after the plain text is encrypted using the secret key. So output of this is the cipher text. This is a scrambled message produced as an output. It depends on the plain text and the secret key. For a given message, two different keys will produce two different cipher text. The cipher text is an apparently random stream of data and as it stands is unintelligible. So this is a random stream of data. So until and unless the receiver knows the secret key to decrypt the message, he won't be understanding what exactly the message has been sent. So the receiver should know the secret key. The sender will also send the secret key to the receiver, or the receiver would be knowing the secret key from the beginning itself. So only he can decipher. If a third person who is not intended to will get this message, he won't be able to decrypt this message. Next is a decryption algorithm. This is essentially the encryption algorithm run in the reverse process. It takes a ciphertext and the secret key and produces the original plain text. There are two requirements for secure use of conventional encryption. So we need a strong encryption algorithm. It means that even if the opponent has the algorithm and has the ciphertext, he should not be able to decrypt. That is, he should not be able to find out the key which decrypts the algorithm, decrypts the ciphertext. Or also, it should be such that the key should be very strong enough that he should not be able to discover the key. And one more thing is, next thing is sender and the receiver must have obtained the copies of the secret key in a secure fashion and must keep the key secure. But in case if the opponent gets hold of the key, then he will be able to decrypt the message and he will be able to read the message what is sent by the sender. So these two things he should be very careful about. So we should have a strong encryption algorithm, as well as the key should be sent to the receiver in a very secure fashion. Let us take a closer look at the essential elements of symmetric encryption schemes using this figure. So here you can see a source produces a message, or this is a plain text. Now this plain text is converted to an unintelligible text, okay, or ciphertext using the encryption algorithm. Now this key source can be either generated at the message source end, so same key source should be, some method should be used to generate at the destination end as well, or this key source, the key generated from this key source can be sent to the receiver through some secure channel as well. Now this encryption algorithm produces a ciphertext. This ciphertext is sent to the receiver, and at the receiver end, the receiver also knows the secret key, so he will be able to decrypt the send ciphertext using the decryption algorithm. Now in case there is a third, an opponent observing y is the ciphertext which is sent, but he does not have access to the key because key is sent via a secure channel. So he may attempt to recover both x is the plain text, or k. Okay, he may try to recover both x and k, or only x, so that he might recover only x, the different forms of x. So in case if he wants to read only one particular message which is been sent, so he will try all the different methods, and he'll get maybe one particular text may be possible that that is a correct message, so he'll, but in case if he wants to read all the future messages, then he will try to get hold of the secret key as well. The objective of attacking an encryption system is to recover the key in use rather than simply to recover the plain text of a single ciphertext. Because in case if the opponent has a key, then whatever messages, exchanges taking place between the sender and receiver can be read by the opponent as well. So there are two general approaches to attacking a conventional encryption scheme. One is the cryptanalysis. So cryptanalytic attacks rely on the nature of the algorithm plus perhaps some knowledge of the general characteristic of the plain text. or even some sample plain text ciphertext pairs. This type of attack exploits the characteristic of the algorithms to attempt to deduce a specific plain text or to deduce the key being used. This table summarizes the various types of cryptanalytic attacks based on the amount of information known to the cryptanalyst. The most difficult problem is presented when all that is available is the ciphertext only. In some cases, not even the encryption algorithm is known. But in general, we can assume that the opponent knows the encryption algorithm used for encryption. One possible attack under these circumstances is the brute force approach of trying all possible keys. If the key space is very large, this becomes impractical. Thus, the opponent must rely on an analysis of the ciphertext itself, generally applying various statistical tests to it. To use this approach, the opponent must have some general idea of the type of the plain text that is concealed, such as whether it is English or French text, an exe file, etc. The ciphertext only attack is the easiest to defend against because the opponent has the least amount of information to work with. He will be knowing only the ciphertext or at the max the encryption algorithm. The analyst may be able to capture one or more plaintext messages as well as their encryptions. Or the analyst may know that certain plaintext patterns will appear in a message. Okay, for example, a file that is encoded in the PostScript format begins with the same pattern. PostScript format always begins with the same pattern, or there may be a standardized header or banner to an electronic funds transfer message, and so on. All these are examples of known plaintext. With this knowledge, the analyst may be able to deduce the keys on the basis of the way in which the plaintext is transformed. Closely related to the known plaintext attack is what might be referred to as a probable word attack. If the opponent is working with the encryption of some general prose message, he or she may have little knowledge of what is in the message. However, if the opponent is after some very specific information, then parts of the message may be known. For example, if an entire accounting file is being transmitted, the opponent may know the placement of certain keywords in the header of the file. As another example, if the source code for a program developed by Corporation X might include a copyright statement in some standardized position. If the analyst is able to somehow get the source system to insert into the system a message chosen by the analyst, then a chosen plain text attack is possible. In general, if the analyst is able to choose the messages to encrypt, the analyst may deliberately pick patterns that can be expected to reveal the structure of the key. In this table, there are other two attacks as well. One is the chosen ciphertext and the chosen text. These are less commonly employed as cryptanalytic techniques but are nevertheless possible avenues of attacks. Only relatively weak algorithms fail to withstand a ciphertext only attack. Generally, an encryption algorithm is designed to withstand known plaintext attacks. An encryption scheme is unconditionally secure if the ciphertext generated by the scheme does not contain enough information to determine uniquely the corresponding plaintext, no matter how much ciphertext is available. That is, no matter how much time an opponent has, it is impossible for him or her to decrypt the ciphertext simply because the required information is not there. With the exception of a scheme known as a one-time pad, there is no encryption algorithm that is unconditionally secure. Therefore, all that the users of an encryption algorithm can strive for is an algorithm that meets one or both of the following criteria. The first one is the cost of breaking the cipher exceeds the value of the encrypted information. That is, if the information what is encrypted is not worth the time, the amount of money and energy spent, then it is of no use. Second one is the time required to break the cipher exceeds the useful lifetime of the information. So, in case if the time required to decrypt a particular message is longer, by then the usefulness of the message is lost, then again it is not worth it. An encryption scheme is said to be computationally secure if either of the foregoing two criteria are met. Unfortunately, it is very difficult to estimate the amount of effort required to cryptanalyze ciphertext successfully. So you never know what is the time required to decrypt the given messages, whether it is worth that time or not. Next, we will see the brute force attack. So, a brute force attack involves trying every possible key until an intelligible translation of the ciphertext into plain text is obtained. On an average, half of all possible keys must be tried to achieve success. So, here different kinds of keys are used to get the ciphertext, decrypt the ciphertext into plain text. You will get a list of possible plain text. So then he has to deduce which might be the correct message what has been sent to the receiver. The below this table shows how much time is involved for various key space. That is the when the brute force attack is tried. So, then what time the decryption can be done. So, this 56-bit key size is used for the DES algorithm or the data encryption standard, which we'll be learning later further on, and 168-bit is the triple DES. The minimum key size specified for advanced encryption is 128 bits. Results are shown for what are called substitution codes, that are 26 character keys. So there are different combinations of these 26 character keys are tried to achieve the decryption process. So this here time required at one decryption per microsecond is taken, and the time required is also listed here. So DES it takes is 10.01 hours. So DES is no longer secure. So you can check all the other time required here. So your AES takes around some 10 to the power 18 years. Triple DES take 10 to the power 30 years. Okay, so these are the time taken for the brute force attack. Thank you.